directors for LAYC. We're Team 3.5, and today we're here to talk about you. You obviously know your mission very well, but what it means to us is you pour your heart and soul into empowering youth and helping them transition into adulthood. And as we were doing research, as we were discussing things, we found that you're not alone, and that's an amazing thing. There are other organizations that have the same passion as you. And the best part about it is there's not much to lose in reaching out to them. And as Bobby will take us through, there's so much to gain by making a connection and helping each other.
Key takeaway here? Well, the key takeaway is that you have excellent strengths that you can use to create an unrestricted source of revenue through using the PYD framework.
Now,
So you posed two challenges towards us that you'd like help solve. The first being an undiversified revenue stream, and the second being a bit of a lack of a volunteer structure. So we'll go into volunteer structure later, and right now, tackle the revenue stream. And we believe the solution to this is turning the PYD program into a revenue generator. So how do you do this? First, we'll take you through assembling a team. Secondly, we'll take you through how to sell these consulting services. And lastly, have an execution timetable broken down so that you step-by-step know what to do.
So the name of the implementation that we brought for you here today is A Recipe for Success. So now I will move into the first stage of this implementation. And this is assembling a team. So you will establish an arm of consultants known as Cultura Consulting. This will consist of 3 employees, and you should have these employees in place in the next 4 months. So now you have a team to carry out this service. However, how do you sell this service? Well, we looked into your website and to the functions that your organization already has set in place, and we noticed that you have an excellent associate board that works well in donor relations and managing relationships. Therefore, we think that they can pitch the PYD framework to carefully targeted not-for-profits. So now that you have your employees to carry out the service, and you have the organizations that you will deliver the service to, what happens? Well, here we have an execution timeline that will clear this up. So, but step 1 of the interaction between you and your client occurs between weeks 1 and 2, and this is when you research the salsa. This is when you're going to sit down with their key employees, learn about their culture, learn about the way they communicate, find out what makes them different. Moving into the second phase, which will occur during week 3, this is when you develop the recipe. This is when you take that proven framework, those 7 steps, and you tailor it to their individual organization to make it meaningful for them. Moving on, we have Pass the Salsa. This is when you run your training program and you do what you do best. You run it in a very similar fashion as you're currently doing it with your own employees. However, you will do it completely tailored to their communication style. Moving on, after you deliver the service, this will occur in the following month. This is when you do your taste test. This is when you will have quality interviews with the organization itself, and you will ensure that the goal setting that you had set up in the 7th step of the PYD framework is going well and working for that organization. And something that is ongoing throughout this entire process is ongoing improvement. So you will take that feedback and you will see how you can improve the process for your next client.
So, long term, what exactly does this mean to you? Well, it means an open revenue stream. You've expressed interest in expanding your best practices replication unit and taking promoter pathway onto a national level. And this opens up a revenue stream that you can directly invest into those efforts as well. In very, very far in the long term, this sets up a framework. If you do really want to expand more programs, not just promoter pathway, this opens up the ability to do that in the very long term. So, moving on to volunteer structure. We believe there's a very simple solution to this, and it's streamlining the sign-up and having a little more help with the management of volunteers.
So to outline the streamline of the sign-up for the volunteers, the first step is to organize the volunteers by the level of screening, by the activities that you already have posted on your website. The second step is to streamline sign-up, and what we recommend is an online calendar that will cost $1,000. Then, thirdly, is to hire a part-time volunteer coordinator to organize the volunteers and create some structure. So to explain the levels of volunteers, currently you have level 1 volunteers, and those are people who do not volunteer with you one-on-one, but are more involved in the penny drive and the fundraising. Level 2 employees are those volunteers, right, are those who have screening time. And those are the ones who pass clearance tests like we do. And level 3 are the ones past level 2 volunteers who now have moved on to level 3. So they've been around for a while, or they've become experts, and they'd like to be involved in organizing and setup.
So now that you have a way to organize volunteers as a framework in your head, you'll be able to transition this to the website by hiring an external company. It will take about 2 weeks and cost about $1,000. And what they'll help you to is create a login profile for these volunteers. And the sign up is just as easy as the current Google Docs that you have right now. And all staff will have to do now is update the information. Have they passed the screening process? Have they not? And if they have not, they still are eligible to go to the level 1 events and volunteer there. And level 2 events will be only available, 2 plus, sorry, will only be available to those who have passed the screening or have the qualifications. Here's an example of what the calendar would look like. It's easy to click into. You can see that the events can be color-coded according to volunteer level. So hot pink could be level 1. And it's easy to click on and see, let people schedule themselves. This no longer has to be an email chain back and forth. They'll also get automatic updates.
Finally, the last step is to hire a volunteer coordinator. This person will have characteristics like you explained. The 4-year impact, we believe, will help more youth, more organizations, and with an additional volunteer, would help more people. And with that, we feel that you can empower people, and you have the ability to. And with our implementation and our help, we would love to do that. So if you have any questions at this time, please feel free to ask anything. So we can go to slide 34. So for the a revenue that was comparable to another organization that I've gone through. So that revenue is about $13,000. And what we felt in the first year, based on Robin's market analysis, is that we could capture 10 different organizations to help with the PYD program. And from there, then we took the cost per PYD session being 8 hours plus 42 hours times $25 per employee times 3 employees. Then we took the cost that you gave us of $2,500 for supplies and food. And we times that by each number of sessions per year. If we could now go to slide 54. Okay, so the breakdown of the PYD cost per session, like I mentioned, was supplies and food and salaries per trainer. Then the salaries per trainer can be broken down by, like I mentioned, 42 hours and then 80 per week. The next slide, please. And now this is the important part. This is the comparison. So the positive youth development, if we're charging $13,000 per person, that's 15 people. Per person, that's $867 per person for 42 hours of this big class. That's a rate of $300. Rate per hour per person is only $20. We look at another not-for-profit in the DC area called the Society for Not-for-Profits. They charge $1,400 for one person, and this is only 16 hours of training for development and leadership. So altogether, that rate per person per hour is $87. We also looked into different grants that we felt that people could benefit from different organizations that they could use in applying. And Alex would like to explain that.
Of course, so yeah, there's 3 grants that organizations can access if they'd like to use your services and don't have the financial resources to do so. The first one, the TD Training Resource Fund, would be available to anyone trying to develop their employee structure in the not-for-profit sector. The other 2 would be slightly more specific to the type of not-for-profit that they are. However, there's a very large maximum amount, and not-for-profits that try to access these grants could be very successful. That is an excellent question, and that is most certainly something that we have considered. If you could please go to slide 51. So here we have the framework. So these are the first 3 points. So this is the framework that was presented to us in the case. So the first 1, 2, and 3, the non-bolded, is the general points of that module for the framework. So let's look at number 1, for example. We have the introduction to the PYD, the overview of the concept and history in the fields of youth and social work. So how do we customize that? Well, what we thought was that you could tailor the history to the specific demographic of the organization, of the youth that the organization works with. This way, the history and the background that those employees are getting in the first level of training is specific to the youth that they are attempting to make meaningful impact. And we've done this for every level, so you could research behaviors and social implications of the type of youth that the organization deals with. So there would be a little bit more research involved, which we have factored into the timing and the salaries in the financial statement. However, it would be very successful in creating that customizable factor and in also creating a large value proposition, as that extremely differentiates LAYC and the PYD framework from other similar training modules that are out in the not-for-profit sector currently.
So we wanted to make sure that the PYU was covering its own costs, plus being able to, at the end of the year, transfer funds and help other organizations, or other parts of their organization. So with that, what we would like to do in the first 3 years is hire a part-time volunteer. So this part-time volunteer, yes, maybe we can't track how many more volunteers that will bring and how many more than youth that will bring with more volunteers at the moment, but with your expertise in data organization, this is something that definitely can be compared to see is having an additional employee for volunteer organization worth the expense. How we got the number for the number of more youth helping general services is a very conservative number. So what we did is we took all the different costs from the different operational activities, then we divided that by 4,172 youth that we helped in 2014. So that includes the administration services, the supply services, and every single service, which I think was around $13 million. So really that was a cost of around, I think it was $2,500 to $3,000 per youth help. So really, if you added one more employee, I'm sure they could help more than just one individual. With that, we felt that with the market analysis, we could increase the number of organizations to 70. And what we really feel in our hearts is the most important part of a not-for-profit is, yes, maybe our organization directly isn't impacting youth, but these other organizations that help it each year maybe will affect 10 or 20 or 30 different youth. And that becomes an exponential amount by the end of year 4.
That's an excellent question and something that we had considered. And what we thought for the capacity constraints currently were the employees. The training itself, to train employees to become trainers, that is a time investment. And as we stated in our presentation, we think that those employees should be set in place in the next 4 months. So just to ensure that everything can be taken care of to the highest level of quality, we thought that just having 3 consultants for the first year of the program would be beneficial, as it would allow those 3 employees to do the best amount of work without over constraining themselves.
If you don't have current questions, I would like to address a little bit of a long-term aspect that you seem to be hinting towards. We do see even further benefits from opening up a revenue stream and really taking this leap, because currently you're an organization that has a lot of great programs, but the way you're developing is you're also an organization that has an immense amount of knowledge. Right? You know how to interact and really help these children through tough times. And what you can do in the future, and what we think this will help you do in the future, is take this knowledge and take it to other organizations. And that's a feedback. Those other organizations can then use that knowledge to help children. And the impact is greater than what one organization could do alone. And in turn, they also contribute to your revenue streams, help you expand in the current areas that you are very interested in expanding in. Taking the best practices replication unit, putting more than just one person on it, so Motor Pathway can go beyond the DC area in a very clean fashion.
outlined a way to create the impact that Robin has just outlined. And that is to turn the PYD into a revenue generator. And to reiterate how this process will work, you will assemble a team, and they will consist of the culture consulting arm of the LAYC. You will then sell the PYD consulting services through your associate board, and they will sell those services to a carefully selected group of not-profit organizations. And then you will tailor those services to suit the client culture. And again, that is a distinct competitive advantage and an excellent value proposition moving forward, trying to help these other nonprofits, as you will be able to just completely develop your training around them. That's excellent, and that's not really out there for them right now, as they're often very generalized training. So that is most certainly something that will be a strength to you moving forward.
Now that we've discussed our recommendation and discussed how we recommend it, we need to step back and look at the now, of course, the country is just under 50% created over 70 non-for-profit organizations. I've volunteered for a year, a job created for some and just over 90 additional lives through direct programs who will continue to sell these lives we got out.
So we've outlined all these tangible takeaways that will impact your organization in the next 4 years. But going again over the long-term impact, this will allow you to put revenue back in to Promotor Pathway, a program that is absolutely amazing. The youth that Promotor Pathway is helping isn't only providing them with a mentor and meeting with them a few times a week, it is fundamentally changing their lives. Therefore, we believe that not only will the PYD framework allow the organization to grow and help other organizations to help youth, however, it will allow the Promotor Pathway to be all that it can be on a national level. So, in summation, we truly believe that the implementation that we bring to you today can be summarized in this diagram here. It can increase revenue through the PYD framework. This will indirectly impact youth through teaching other nonprofit organizations how to meaningfully connect, create more impact in the community, and do what they do best, better. So that increased revenue through the PYD will allow in greater resources for service for LAYC itself. This will allow them to directly impact you. This will allow your services to gain more reach, go further in the country, and create more meaning in the community in which you operate. And those greater resources for the service will allow the LWC program expansion to reach a national level. So the most important thing that we brought to you today perhaps was not the financial statements or the logistics within the operations, but it was instead a plan that will give you the tools and resources to directly change more lives. So on behalf of Team 3.5, I would like to thank you for the attention that you've given us today, and I'd like to wish you luck in your organization's future. Thank you.